Second question I have along these lines. For the Jets, what do they do? First and foremost, have they called Chase?
No.
Okay.
And
Got that one out of the
honestly,
way.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, they're looking for veteran quarterbacks. My arm feels nice and lubed up and ready to roll, baby. But they haven't called. But I haven't spoken to my agent. It's still pretty early in the day. I
Yeah.
did hear that they've reached out to some vets, so I'm guessing I'm not on the list. But
Well, Saleh said we're rolling with Zach Wilson. That's the right answer. And now you have these
100%.
crazy theories out there. Okay, they should go sign Tom Brady. Let me be 100% clear. That is never happening in the history of time. Okay, that is not happening.
Could you
That is
imagine if
not
it did
happening.
though? And he went to the Super Bowl and won it, like
Yeah, well,
legend, bro.
yeah, well, can you imagine if I grew a third arm? How great that would be. Like, that's not happening either. Okay. So that one's out. And then I hear like people that I respect saying they should really look at a trade for Matthew Stafford or get in Matt Ryan for a physical. Let's start with Matt Ryan. I love Matt Ryan.
I
I
can't
think
wait
he's
to hear
great.
this.
Matt Ryan retired last year while he was playing. Okay. I love Matt Ryan. He was
Yeah,
certifiably terrible last
it
year.
was bad.
And now he's calling games and his booth partners are trolling him with 28-3
Oh,
comments. You
that was
really think,
funny. I don't care who you are.
yeah,
That was pretty funny.
it was, and he handled it well. But you're
Yeah.
telling me you think that's an option for you? That's an option for you that you're going to get this guy who was awful last year, hasn't played in forever, has no concept of the system. You're going to bring him in and that's going to work? Scratch that one. Then the other one is, well, let's make a trade for Matthew Stafford. What are you talking about? They just went in and rolled Seattle in Seattle. They're feeling good about themselves. Cooper Kupp's on injured reserve. He's only going to miss 4 games that we know of at this point. He might come back. They just went in there and just, asserted their dominance over Seattle in their place in week 1 with receivers you and I have never heard of. And
Puka.
Matthew Stafford likes LA. This just in. Okay. He wanted to leave Detroit for a reason. He wanted to go to LA for a reason. I don't think he's going to just say, you know what, guys, the Jets may be calling. See you later. Do
That
you
one's
think there's
interesting
any
though
chance?
to me. That's
Okay.
interesting though to me. I talked to Diana Rossini this morning. She was at the game. Okay. She's with The Athletic now. She was awesome. She came on the Chasin It show, and I said, "Hey, can I use some of this stuff for Chasin It?" Of course. And she was saying that Matthew Stafford has been talked about, like a little bit. Like, but my question to her, okay, and this is how she phrased it, which I thought was really cool, was, "Hey, listen, like a guy like Matthew Stafford, I threw it out there, like because I wanted to see, because all the offseason speculation, everything that he said, that the team said, like his wife's getting into stuff, like he's not connecting
So
with
bad.
teammates." Like not great. I love the Staffords, by the way. I was with them in 2020, but I would say like just move out a little bit. But my thing is like I said,
Don't tell secrets when he's talking to you in person about stuff. How about that?
yeah. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. And so when I asked her, her eyes sort of lit up, and I'm like, she was like, well, maybe, but like it makes a lot of sense in terms of not money, because he's due an absurd amount of salary. But the Jets have done everything humanly possible to buy in for this year. It's win now and maybe win next year. They spent a ton of money. They have extra money. If they can make it work, which I don't think this is going to happen. If they make this work and we're somehow be able to get Matthew Stafford, I think it's like a genius move. Now, I don't think Matthew wants to move out of LA. I agree, it's LA.
And I think,
Like, who
I
wants
think that's the biggest thing. I think
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing. Matthew doesn't. It makes sense for the Jets. I don't think it makes sense for Matthew Stafford.
Yeah. It's just an interesting conversation, because when I brought it up, I was like, I'm sure if I'm Joe Douglas and I'm Robert Saleh and I'm Woody Johnson right now, I am looking at every single possibility out there for quarterback. We just heard that they reached out to Chad Henne. Like, they are looking for a vet. Like you were going to say it, but I'm going to say it for you. Joe Flacco. Tell me why. Tell me why you think Joe Flacco's the guy.
Because Joe Flacco knows these players. It's a different system. I understand that, but he knows what Robert Saleh expects. And oh, by the way, go back and look how Joe Flacco played last year in the first 2 weeks of the season. For most of last season, he led the league in touchdown passes because he played in 2 games. Because the Jets were that terrible, and Zach Wilson did not play well. Joe Flacco makes all the sense in the world, especially if you said to yourself already, It is Zach Wilson's team. We're rolling with it. So what you're basically saying is we're committing to Zach Wilson until he completely poops the bed, which is possible. It's certainly
Yeah.
possible. So
Yeah.
what you need then is somebody who knows everything that you're trying to do, is familiar with the system and familiar with the players. Joe Flacco makes all the sense in the world. It's
I
not
love
sexy.
Joe Flacco.
It's not sexy. It's not flashy. It's not Tom Brady or Matt Ryan or Matthew Stafford, but it makes the most damn sense. And if you really want to be honest about it,
I like it.
if you think you have something with everybody else on this team, every other thing looks great, you need someone in there that can be a backup and a bridge until Zach Wilson either gets it or doesn't, and then he can step in and win some games for you. And don't even think about discounting that. Joe Flacco could win games for the Jets right now if he showed up. I'm sorry, that's a fact.
You heard it here first on Chasin It. Joe Flacco to the Jets. Let's go.
I mean, it makes all the sense in the world. And these people that are like, oh, that's crazy. What were you watching?
It's not crazy at all. Yeah, it's not crazy
What were
at all.
you watching?
I totally agree.
Like, what's insane is Matt Ryan. Okay, what's insane is Tom Brady. Chad Henne, I guess, on some level makes sense. But Joe Flacco is Chad Henne who's been in the building. And that makes a big difference. Like Garrett
Knows the
Wilson
culture.
last year. Yeah. Garrett Wilson last year said something which I thought was really interesting when Zach went down. They were asked, well, what's the difference between Joe and Zach? Garrett Wilson said the quiet part out loud. Joe throws a real catchable ball. Joe throws a real catchable ball, which was an indictment on Zach as much as it was a compliment on Joe.
Was it a compliment or an indictment?
But that's a separate issue. That is a separate issue completely. But it tells you what the team thinks about him. So it makes all the sense. And Joe has said, I want to play. It makes all the sense in the world for me from a football standpoint to go get a guy like Joe Flacco and not shoot for the moon for these ridiculous bullshit ideas. But hey, it's the Jets. Who knows what they're going to do?